The emergency beacon from Kepler station crackled through the void, carrying desperation across 3 star systems. Alexander wiped grease from his calloused hands and glanced at his partner Nora, who was already pulling up the transmission data on their cramped repair ship's console. "Another cursed vessel?" Nora asked, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. The payment offer made her whistle low. "They're offering triple rates, Alex. Whatever's wrong with this ship, it's got them spooked." Alexander had seen plenty of superstitious aliens in his 15 years as an independent mechanic. The galaxy was full of species who attributed mechanical failures to supernatural forces, especially when human engineering was involved. "What kind of ship?" "Zalathi heavy cruiser. The Vexthari says here it's been through 7 different repair crews in the past month. None could fix it." Nora's voice carried a hint of excitement. She lived for challenges that made other species throw up their appendages in defeat. The journey to Kepler station took 6 hours. During the flight, they reviewed the technical reports from previous repair attempts. The Zalathi were a proud warrior race. Their ships built like flying fortresses with redundant systems that could withstand orbital bombardments. Yet somehow the Vexthari had been dead in space for weeks. Captain Zexamar met them at the docking bay, his scaled hide showing the telltale stress patterns of his species. "Humans," he said, his translator rendering his relief in flat electronic tones. "Finally, this ship, it defies all logic." Alexander shouldered his toolkit, a collection of instruments that had been modified and jury-rigged over years of fixing alien technology. "What are the symptoms?" "Everything works but nothing functions," Zexmar replied, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "The power flows correctly. The computers process data. The engines spin up perfectly. But when we engage the drive, nothing happens. We simply don't move." Nora exchanged a glance with Alexander. In their experience, impossible problems usually had embarrassingly simple solutions. The Vexthari was impressive even by Zalathi standards. Its corridors were wide enough for the 7-foot-tall warriors to move in formation, and every surface bristled with redundant control systems. Alexander had always admired Zalathi engineering philosophy. If one system could fail, build 3 backups. They started in the engine bay, where massive fusion drives sat silent despite showing all green status lights. Nora ran diagnostics while Alexander crawled through access tunnels, following power conduits and data lines. Everything was pristine, perfectly maintained. "Alex, look at this," Nora called from the main control station. "The engine output readings are perfect. Temperature nominal, fusion reaction stable, magnetic containment fields at optimal strength, but the thrust vectors are showing 0. Alexander emerged from an access hatch, cobwebs in his hair. "That's impossible. If the drives are firing, we'd see thrust." For 3 hours, they chased the phantom problem through the ship's systems. Every component tested perfectly. Every subsystem operated within normal parameters. Yet the ship remained motionless, as if held by invisible chains. It was Nora who noticed the anomaly. "Alex, come look at the inertial dampener readings." He joined her at the console, wiping sweat from his forehead. The Zalathi had a tendency to keep their ships uncomfortably warm. "See this?" She pointed to a data stream. "The inertial dampeners are working perfectly." "Too perfectly." Alexander frowned, studying the numbers. Inertial dampeners were crucial for space travel, preventing crews from being crushed by acceleration forces. They created a localized field that canceled out inertial effects within the ship. Then it hit him. "Nora, what happens if the dampeners are calibrated wrong?" Her eyes widened as understanding dawned. "If they're too powerful, they wouldn't just cancel out acceleration effects from the engines. They'd cancel out acceleration entirely," Alexander finished. "The ship thinks it's not moving, so the dampeners work harder to keep it from moving." They rushed to the dampener control room, located deep in the ship's core. The Zalathi engineering team had installed a beautiful piece of technology, a crystalline matrix that generated perfectly tuned inertial fields. And someone had calibrated it to 11 when it should have been set to 10. How did 7 repair teams miss this? Nora asked, already working to recalibrate the system. Alexander chuckled. Because they were looking for a complex problem. Humans have an advantage. We're used to things breaking in stupid ways. The fix took 15 minutes. Nora carefully adjusted the dampener field strength, while Alexander monitored the engine output readings. When she made the final calibration, the ship shuddered slightly. the first movement it had felt in weeks. Captain Zexamar stood in the engineering bay, watching with all four eyes as his ship came back to life. "The spirits have been appeased," he said solemnly. "Not spirits," Alexander replied, packing his tools. "Just physics." As they prepared to depart, Zexamar pulled Alexander aside. "Human, your species has a gift. You see problems differently than we do. The Zalathi Council has been discussing hiring human engineers as consultants." Alexander smiled. "We'd be honored. But I should warn you, we're going to find a lot more stupid problems." "Stupid problems are better than cursed ones," the captain replied. On the flight back to their ship, Nora calculated their payment. 3 times normal rate for 15 minutes of work. Not bad. Alexander watched the Vex Thari gracefully maneuver away from the station, its engines now functioning perfectly. Sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones. The galaxy's full of species that build amazing technology, but they overthink the problems when things break. "And that's where humans come in," Nora said, settling back in her pilot's seat. "The universe's best problem solvers, one stupid fix at a time." Their ship's communication array lit up with new emergency beacons, 3 more cursed vessels requesting human mechanics. Alexander grinned. Business was good when you were the only species that assumed technology failed in predictable, mundane ways. In a galaxy full of wonders and impossibilities, sometimes the most valuable skill was expecting things to break exactly as they should.